Now, if you know anything about me, you probably know that I've played a lot of characters who actively partake in the use of marijuana. Actually, that's often the only thing that people know about me. And I don't know whether I should take that as a compliment of my acting abilities because I actually don't smoke weed, or if I just have a naturally stonerish demeanor that lends itself to movies like Pineapple Express and This Is the End. Resting stoned-faced, you could call it. But in fact, for most of my adult life, I've done the opposite of checking out. I've been struggling to find a way to check in. After not enrolling in an Ivy League school, I dropped out of UCLA because I knew that I wanted to be an actor, and I wasn't in their theater program, so I went to an acting school in the San Fernando Valley. My parents said that they would no longer support me if I wasn't in college, so I got a job at the only place that would hire me, McDonald's. And as you can imagine, my parents were very proud of their son who left a first-class education to work at the drive-thru window. But at the time, I knew that I wanted to be an actor at any cost. Now, if you know anything more about me beyond an odd talent for playing stoners and idiots, it's that I do a lot of things. After dropping out of school for McDonald's, I worked my ass off in acting school. I had chosen not to play it safe and to follow my dreams, so I reasoned that I'd better work hard at it. No one was going to beg me to be an actor, just as no one will really beg you to do anything you actually want to do. If you want to go after something you love, it's simple. You have to work at it. The film business is such a hard business to break into. I knew that if I was going to get anywhere, I needed to devote myself completely. If I wasn't taking orders at the drive-thru, I was rehearsing scenes with my classmates. And often, if I was at the drive-thru window, I was practicing different accents. Now, fortunately, I booked a Pizza Hut commercial after 3 months, and I didn't have to work at McDonald's anymore. But I ended up going to acting school for 8 years. Now, that's about as long as it takes to become a doctor. And even after I started working regularly as an actor, I went back to class. During Freaks and Geeks, I went. I went after I won the Golden Globe for playing James Dean. I went while I was filming all the Spider-Man films. And I say this because there was a time when I wasn't an actor, when I was just a guy who loved movies and wanted to be a part of them but didn't know how. And I can look back on that time in my life and see that I was a person who had a certain level of talent, and that after years of hard work, that talent was developed into a skill that I could wield. I worked hard at something and I saw results. Now, the problem was that after 8 years of acting professionally, I realized that I wasn't content. On the outside, it seemed that I had everything one could want. I was supporting myself as an actor. I was working on Spider-Man. I was working with people like Robert De Niro, Willem Dafoe, and Kirsten Dunst, but I still wasn't satisfied. Something was off. I wanted something more. And what was worse was that I couldn't complain about it because, well, I'd look like a douche. But in fact, I felt trapped. As an actor, I wasn't allowed to do all the things I was interested in. So, I went back to school, and that's where my life changed. When I'd been at school the first time, I was there as a compromise with my parents. But when I went back, I was there for myself, and that made all the difference. I wanted to learn. And if you know anything else about me, you'll know that I went to a lot of schools after that. I was addicted. What I found was that life is not a fixed journey, it is open. I didn't have to stay one thing, I could always be learning. After going back to school, I studied all the things I was interested in with incredible people in each of those fields. And now I not only act, I do everything. The point I'm making is that because I pursue what interests me and excites me, my life is mine to control. And that's my little bit of wisdom to you. Don't be afraid to be beginners. Don't think that this marks the end of your learning. This should be the start. Now, you don't have to lose your mind and go to every school like I did, Be a little bit like Steve Jobs. Every once in a while, try a calligraphy class, because you don't know where it will lead. Now, here's just a few more suggestions that I think will make life better. Find your gang. Life is better when it is in the company of others. If you're a loner, that's fine. I was a loner once too, but you will only get better at whatever it is you do if you have a group of similarly engaged people. They will give you feedback, inspire you, and hopefully do better work than you and push you to rise to their level. Do what you love, at least a little bit. And if you have to do something else in order to support what you love, do it. Hell, work at McDonald's. And if you really love something, you'll do whatever it takes to support that thing. Do what you have to do to work on your passions. Just don't get stuck in the side job. And if you find that you've worked yourself into a well-worn groove, then be a beginner at something. And don't ever let fear or the little demon that says you ought to do this and you shouldn't do that ever keep you from pursuing what you love. And finally, I found that this is the most important to me. Be generous. Take a little time to give back. I've been teaching for the past 6 years, not because I have to, I have a job, but because it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. I've spent so much of my life focused on myself, developing myself as an actor and a poet and novelist and painter and whatever, you get the point. After doing all that, the opportunity to give back, to help others achieve their dreams, is such a relief. From someone who's been in some of the biggest movies ever made, who got invited to Lady Gaga's 30th birthday party, who's gone to half the colleges in the United States, one of the most satisfying things I've ever done is give myself to others. So please go out, be generous, and be good. Thank you.